What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Man, it's been a week or two since I made my last video, and Bitcoin was at I think 40K when I made the last video. And look at us now, man. We have now officially crossed over the $1 trillion market cap. Man, that's phenomenal, guys. That's the big milestone because you don't understand a lot of these companies, these public companies, these really old school traditional hedge fund with trillions of dollars in their at their disposal. They won't even invest in an asset unless it's at $1 trillion at least. And that's why the thing with Bitcoin is the higher the price goes, the higher it's gonna keep going. It's literally counterintuitive to every other asset you ever think of. With stocks, with everything else, every time the price goes up too high, you gotta be worried. You're saying, well, maybe this is not a good time to buy in. But with Bitcoin, it's the complete opposite, as in the higher the price, the more likely it's going to keep going higher. So, anyways, we crossed over the $1 trillion market cap, man. What an amazing feeling. I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time, guys, and I'm halfway to my target for 2021, which was originally 100K, but I did revise my target to $150,000 by the end of 2021 because of the price action and how fast we are moving, and we are way ahead of schedule as far as the stock to flow model, as far as institutional involvement and everything that's going on within Bitcoin today. So right now we're sitting at $55,000, guys. It's what else can I say, guys? Nobody believed me back then when I told him to buy at $4,000, at $5,000, $6,000. With the journey with me was I got into Bitcoin back in 2017 at the end of the bull run, of the previous bull run, right? So it was around $8,000 when I got in, and I remember it went all the way up to 20, but I didn't sell because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't understand anything. I didn't know what a blow off top was. I didn't know what it meant when something is extremely parabolic and at the end of the run. I didn't know. I didn't know the timing of the cycle. I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't sell it. I held it, and then it came back down, and I just kept buying more on every dip. And it's been tough, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's been tough trying to endure that bear market. Those 4 years, man. When people look back and they think, "Oh yeah, you held it for 4 years," they don't realize, when you're going through it in real time, those 4 years are long, especially when you're all in something. When you're all in something and you continuously just every time it drops, you buy more. You're doing what you're supposed to do, but it just keeps dropping. And because we were in a bear market and I just didn't know any better, I didn't have the conviction that I have today, I didn't have the knowledge that I have today, and it was tough. So this moment is definitely glorious. It's a milestone for me, for sure. $1 trillion market cap. I mean, Bitcoin has now reached geopolitical significance. I mean, it can no longer be ignored. It's too big, right? And so it's going to continue to gather more momentum. And contrary to the popular beliefs, or contrary to what a normal, uninformed person would think, the higher Bitcoin goes, the less risky it is to invest in it. So with that being said, guys, I want to congratulate everybody that held on all the way to this point. Whoever's got in before this, everybody's making money. Nobody has ever bought Bitcoin in the past is not in the money right now. It's not in profit right now. So congratulations, everybody. There's not much else I can say today. There's good news just been spreading like wildfire in the Bitcoin community. A lot of things happening. The first Bitcoin ETF was approved, and it got launched. I think it was yesterday in Canada, and their volume was like $200 million in the first day, which is phenomenal because the average for an ETF is around 20 million. So, it shows how much demand there is for this asset, with supply continuously getting less and less. So it's a very natural thing for price to appreciate and for values to accrue simply because of supply and demand. I mean, whatever it is that you think about how to value or model something, just remember supply and demand is the most fundamental and the most basically the most basic way to to price something, to put value on something, is how much of it there is and how much of it do people want. That's all there is to it, supply and demand. So with that being said, guys, I want to go ahead and touch on something real quick with Tesla. You know, one buddy of mine, he wanted to ask me about what's going on with Tesla. Tesla came out today and they made a statement regarding Bitcoin. Well, Elon Musk, he said this article on Yahoo Finance, once again, you can't trust these journalists. Okay, they love to write headlines like this. You know, it's almost funny and kind of pitiful at this point how desperate they are. You gotta understand, a lot of these guys that write these articles, they've been doubting Bitcoin for so long. They've been talking so much shit about Bitcoin for so long, and they've been proven wrong and again and again and again and again. It's like they're grabbing at anything. They're grabbing at blind straws. You know, they just want to, any little thing that comes out that they can twist and turn it into something negative, they will. But apparently that wasn't enough, because we pumped again today. You know, they thought that articles like this was going to be able to bring down the price, but it didn't. But anyways, this guy said Tesla CEO Elon Musk takes a major U-turn on Bitcoin. False. Okay, so basically what happened today was there was an interview with Binance, right? CZ, he's the CEO of Binance, and he talked about how Elon is so big on Dogecoin. He said, I'm surprised Elon is big on Dogecoin. He said it's actually, the coin is a joke. You know, even he got to admit that Dogecoin is a huge joke. Like, there's no substance to it whatsoever. And he was saying, but he said, but you know, Tesla did buy $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. So then Elon commented on it, and he said, Tesla's action is not directly reflective of my opinion. Having some Bitcoin, which is simply a less dumb form of liquidity than cash, is adventurous enough for an SP 500 company. Now, we got to break down what that means, okay? You got to understand, guys, as a public company, a Fortune 500 company, there are very limited things that you can invest your money in, or you can't just go and buy stupid random penny stocks. You can't go and just buy any little cryptocurrency you see. They're not the same as a retail investor, as like me and you. Like, we can do whatever we want, right? We can open up an account and we can buy shit coins, we can buy penny stocks, do whatever we want. But they have a lot of regulatory hurdles they have to get through in order to invest in something. So what he's saying is basically Bitcoin is just about as risky of an asset as anything can be invested in for a Fortune 500 company. If you go beyond that, then it's just almost impossible. You're not going to get approval for it, right? Nobody's going to none of these shareholders would ever allow Elon Musk or Tesla to buy $1 billion or $1 million worth of Dogecoin or Ethereum or any other of this other shit. You know, that just goes to show how big Bitcoin has gotten. Before, to do what they did would be impossible. You know, if you look at 2017, no matter how high the price was going, none of these guys would ever endorse Bitcoin. No hedge fund manager, no legendary Wall Street veteran, no billionaires, no CEO would ever endorse Bitcoin, simply because it just wasn't our time yet. You know, there was no substance behind it. It wasn't understood. The price increase back in 2017 was hugely retail driven, meaning it was just regular people like me and you just buying it on Coinbase, and then it just drive the price up and then crash, right? This time is different. This time is different because this is institutional. This is, you know, we have big boys, we have whales, the adults are here. You know, these guys are buying Bitcoin, and they're finally giving Bitcoin the legitimacy that it needs, you know, in order to be recognized as a global asset. And that's exactly what we're becoming. So what he's saying is Tesla's action is not reflective, in my opinion. Having some Bitcoin, which is a less dumb form of liquidity than cash, is adventurous enough for a SP 500 company. Now, he's basically saying it's much better to have Bitcoin and to have cash on a reserve balance sheet. That's why he bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, of course, he's down talking Bitcoin right now, right? You would expect, a lot of people expected him to be like, yeah, Bitcoin is the greatest thing ever. You know, we bought it because we believe in it and we believe it's going to go up, blah, blah. That's not who Elon Musk is. You guys just, you have to stop watching. You have to stop paying attention to what they're saying and look at what they do, okay? There's two reasons why he's typing this. One, it's called talking down your book. meaning that he's talking down an asset so that he can accumulate more. I don't believe that this is the last Bitcoin buy that Tesla's going to make. I think they're going to make more. They're not going to just stop at 1.5 billion. Nobody does. Once you get involved in Bitcoin, you can't really stop. Once you understand it more, you will buy more. And I do believe that he will in the future, if he's not already doing now, accumulate more Bitcoin. And as he does that, he has to talk down his books, meaning he has to basically downplay it so that the price doesn't get too far away from him, doesn't jump up too high, and then he has to buy more expensively. You know what I'm saying? Like it costs him more to get the same amount of Bitcoin if he were hyping it up too much. So that's one reason. And two, guys, you got to remember, this is Elon Musk. This is the same guy that talked down his own stock. Do you remember when Tesla was going up last year? It was on a major run. I mean, Tesla has had a huge year last year. Elon went on and he literally tweeted, he said, I think Tesla's stock price is way too high, way too overvalued. He said that about his own stock. And then, of course, Tesla shares tanked, right? It dropped. And then he got in a lot of trouble. His investors basically was like, what the fuck, Elon? Like, what the fuck are you? Why did you tweet that? And then the SEC was investigating him. He was under investigation by the SEC for a long time for basically his tweets. He keeps getting in trouble for his tweets. And, that's just the type of guy that he is. I mean, he hates the SEC. He expressed that multiple times. And you just can't take what he's tweeting seriously. And you always got to watch the undertone and read between the line when it comes to what he tweets, because this is the man, this is the same man, like I said, that talks down his own stock, or that went on and said, I'm thinking of taking Tesla public, or whatever the fuck he said that one time with the IPO. He got in a lot of trouble. This is the same guy that went on Joe Rogan smoking weed and, got his shares just completely tanked after that Joe Rogan show. You can't really take everything he says seriously. You got to take it with a grain of salt. Guys, you just doesn't matter. Just watch what they do, okay? Tesla bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And what he said right here, it may seem like, oh man, that's so underwhelming, right? People expected him to say something more more extravagant about Bitcoin. But you gotta understand, for Elon, that's huge. For Elon to even say that, like in Elon language, that's huge. Like I said, this is the same guy that talks shit about his own stock. You just can't. What do you want? And then he said, to be clear, I am not an investor. I am an engineer. I don't even own any publicly traded stocks besides Tesla. However, when fiat currency has negative real interest, only a fool wouldn't look somewhere else. Bitcoin is almost as BS as fiat money. The key word is almost. Like I said, guys, if you know Elon and his history with tweets and the way he talks about his own company, his own stock, this is a compliment to the highest degree. You're not going to see Elon come out, most likely, anytime soon and say, Bitcoin is the greatest thing we ever seen. I bought it because, I thought that it's gonna be the biggest thing on earth. For Elon, this is as good as it gets. This is a huge compliment. And of course, these journalists, they got to find a way to twist and turn and make themselves look good, and like I said, like if you guys watch my previous videos, you know how I feel about these journalists, right? They have no credential. These guys, literally all they do is just write articles. They're not economists. They're not engineers. They're not cryptographers. They're not coders. They're not developers. They're nobody. They're not historians. They don't have any of these credentials. They just go on and they get paid to write shit like this and make headlines like this so people can click on their page and get views and engagement. That's all they do. So you can't take them seriously. You gotta take it with a grain of salt. Like I said, for Elon, this is a huge compliment in Elon language, right? I mean, like I said, guys, this is the same guy that talks shit about his own stock. So I mean, that's all there is to it for me to say today. Congratulations once again to everybody that bought and held Bitcoin this whole time. And yes, I do think we do have a lot more room to run. I think that Bitcoin is gonna blow past everybody's expectation this year, and we could be in the middle of a super cycle to where we might not even have any more of a bear market after this because of how much adoption and how much institutional money and just we have strong hands, we have whales, we have big boys that are accumulating Bitcoin. And so, this might be a whole different ball game by next year. But I mean, the future is very bright, and I'm very happy, and I think you guys should be happy as well if you guys bought Bitcoin and held on to it. If you haven't, I think it's time for you to look into it because I do believe that we are headed towards global dominance, as in it's going to become so big. And once the first nation state adopts Bitcoin, that's when the dominoes start to fall. That's the game theory. That's when all of them have to follow suit. Otherwise, they are left out of the race. And that's the incentive and the positive feedback loop and the chain reaction that cause what it's called escape velocity and critical mass when it comes to Bitcoin's adoption. And I think we're very close to that. And the day that happens is the day that we all are forced to buy into Bitcoin, and that at that point the price will be so high. So I really think that it would serve everybody tremendously to look into it now before it's too late.